Hare Krishna. So today we will start with the seventh chapter of the Bhagavad-gita titled Knowledge of the Absolute. So the seventh chapter represents a, a, a new section in the Bhagavad-gita. So as we had discussed that the Bhagavad-gita is divided into three sections. The first is about karma, which is the first to sixth chapter. The last six chapters, 13 to 18, are about Gyan. And the middle six chapters from 7 to 12 talk about bhakti. So these are compact chapters. The middle section is actually the shortest section in terms of the number of verses, and just in terms of the number of verses, the first six chapters have 279 verses. The last six chapters, they have 212 verses, and the middle six chapters have 209 verses. Shorter but also the most potent, and this is especially relishable to the devotees, because here Krishna speaks about devotion to him. So the chapter has 30 verses, and this is a broad breakup of the flow of the chapter. Krishna talks about the process of knowing by hearing him. Then from verses 4 to 12, Krishna talks about his material and spiritual energy. Then Krishna talks about how is the controller of the mode. And the last half of the chapter, 15 to 30, is actually very, very potent in the sense that it carries in it the relationship of the various categories of jivas with Krishna. So we'll see how Krishna will talk about the six categories of jivas, 12 in all, but six broad categories of jiva, and it will help us understand how everyone in their own way is somehow trying to make progress. So we will start with the first verse of the seventh chapter. 7.1 Sri Bhagavan Vacha Maya Sakta Manaha Partha Yogam Yunjanmadashayaha Asamshayam Samagramma Yatha Gyasasi Tat Shunu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Now hear, O son of Pratha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt." So the first six chapters of the Bhagavad-gita, they spoke mainly of the Swarup of the Jiva. And we came to understand that the Jiva is actually non-material and spiritual. They also spoke about the means to realize it and the impediments to the means. So what were the means? The means were through Sankhya, Karma, Gyan, and Astanga. And what were the impediments? The impediments was the impurities in the heart. And what was the means to address this impediment? The execution of Nishkam Karma. Right. So this is a a high-level synopsis of the first 6 chapters. And the focus in the first 6 chapters is the famous Jiva. Now in the middle 6 chapters, Krishna will speak about himself, the Swarup of the Lord, the object of worship and the means to realize the Lord. What is the process by which the Lord makes himself accessible to the Jiva? And this process is Bhakti Yoga. So it chiefly concerns itself with Krishna and the process of connecting to him directly. Now, interestingly, Arjun did not ask Krishna about what type of form should be worshipped, and when Krishna says Madgatena Antaratmana, he did not ask him that how do I make you the object of my worship. And the acharyas say that unlike the other topics of karma and gyan and astang, bhakti is a topic that is close to Krishna's heart. So in his eagerness to give his dear devotee the highest fruit, Krishna does not even wait for him to ask a question. Right? He simply starts speaking. Maya saktamana partha. Let me tell you how to attain bhakti. So in these 6 chapters, 2 types of bhakti will be discussed. Shuddha and Mishrit. So Mishrit bhakti is one in which the devotion to the Lord is mixed with something else, either karma or gyan or some of the other elements. And Shuddha is, as the name denotes, pure devotional service, unmixed. Now, bhakti by its own nature is completely independent. And actually, we won't, for the sake of time, we won't do it here. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, when he comments on this verse, he quotes extensively from different scriptures to establish the supreme independence of bhakti. Prabhupada makes the same point. So, without going through a rigorous shastric analysis, we will accept the fact that bhakti is independent. And then this is a departure from what we have been seeing in the previous 6 chapters, where there is a gradual progression in which stage 2 is dependent on stage 1. That by the performance of sakam karma, one becomes qualified to perform nishkam karma. And by the performance of nishkam karma comes atmagyan, and through atmagyan, by the performance, one becomes qualified for gyan yoga, and by the performance of gyan yoga, one begins to perceive the Paramatma. Then one becomes qualified for astang yoga. So one cannot jump. There is these whole prerequisites that need to be met. Not for bhakti. Bhakti can be even executed by one who is on the most sinful platform, who is on the platform of vikarma. And in the scriptures, in the Bhagavatam, there are so many examples of it, where advanced devotees like Narad, who have preached to those who are very much on the sinful platform. Like Mrigarari the hunter, who was brutally killing animals, and he was directly elevated to the platform of bhakti. So this will be the glorification in these 6 chapters. Now let's look at the verse. So Krishna said that, now hear, O son of Pratha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free of doubt. Now essentially this verse is almost exactly the same as the last verse of the previous chapter. In 647, Krishna had said that of all the yogis, the one with great faith, who always abides in me, thinks about me, and renders devotional service unto me, he is most intimately linked to me. Right? There Krishna has said, Yomata. That is my opinion. Here Krishna says, Tachshruno. Now hear from me. And we had discussed how when Krishna uses these small phrases, that Yomata, Tachshruno, he is basically, it's like a small flag that Krishna puts on certain verses, that these are very important verses. Right? So here Krishna is attracting the attention of Arjun and the readers. So this verse is giving us a prelude into what is going to come. The verse talks about Keval Bhakti or Shuddha Bhakti, that is unmixed with karma or gyan or anything else. Later on we'll see that Krishna will describe this again. So in the 8th chapter, 14th verse, Ananyas Chetah Satatam, right? He'll describe Shuddha Bhakti. In the 9th chapter, Mahatmanam Stumam Partha, 9:13. In 9:22, Ananyas Chintayantos Mam. Right? So in this 6th chapter, Krishna describes the Keval Bhakti or the Shuddha Bhakti and the Mishra Bhakti. Now, when there is Bhakti, the focus automatically goes to Krishna. Right? In the first 6th chapter, Krishna is in the shadows. Who's in the spotlight? The Jiva. Now, the spotlight is on Krishna. And this verse gives us a glimpse into that. And that Krishna repeats the word Maya, Mam, 3 times. So it's like me, me, me. He says 4 things. He says Maya Saktamana, that with your mind attached to me. What does this mean? That with faith in me. Then Yoga Yunjan, perform Bhakti Yoga Mad Ashraya. Again the second me, Mad Ashraya. So Ashraya means taking shelter of me, being conscious of me. And Asamshayam, free of all doubts. Right? So this is Krishna's summation of the process of bhakti. That attach one's mind to Krishna, have faith in him, and be free of doubts. Taking shelter of Krishna, perform this process of bhakti. So Srila Prabhupada in the purport says, therefore only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness, one can understand the science of Krishna. Okay, let's go to the next verse. Verse 2. Jnanam teyam sa vijnanam idam vakshayam yaseshataha yajgyatva neha bhuyo nyaj gyatvam avashishyate. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. So previous verse, Krishna introduced the topic of bhakti. Now he says that I will give you this knowledge of the science of bhakti. So here Krishna is glorifying that knowledge. And he talks about 2 aspects of it. He says, Jnanam Tyam Sa Vijnanam. So Jnana and Vijnana. Srila Prabhupada translates Jnana as phenomenal and Vijnana as numinous. And another place Prabhupada will translate Jnana as material and Vijnana as spiritual. So the difference between Jnana and Vijnana is Jnana is more abstract and intellectual, and Vijnana is realized knowledge. So somebody might tell you that if you touch something hot, it will burn you, right? So that's knowledge. But when you actually touch something hot and it burns you, that is realized knowledge. So realized knowledge is something that one can act upon, something that is one has experiential basis of, right? So Gyan is intellectual and Vigyan is experiential. In this context, Gyan means that one understands the Swarup of Krishna. Understands Krishna, his material energy, his spiritual energy. Now, no one can understand Krishna in entirety. But Gyan means that one understands Krishna to the extent that he is revealed in the scriptures or by the acharyas. Vigyan is one experiences Krishna. So when one is chanting, deity worship, interacting with devotee, one gets a more emotional interaction with experience of Krishna. That is Vigyan. Gyan is how Krishna relates to his internal and external energy. Vigyan is realizing the sweetness of the Lord. Gyan is understanding that Krishna is the Sarvakaran Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. Vigyan is actually experiencing the protection of Krishna. Like sometimes devotees, they have these moments in which they say, I could actually feel, I was in difficulty, I could feel the protection of Krishna. Right? And that Vigyan is very, very powerful. So Prabhupada in the purport says that complete knowledge includes the knowledge of the phenomenal world, the spirit behind it, and the source of both of them. Verse 3. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhyaye yatataamapi siddhanam kaschin mam veti tatvata. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection. And of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. So after having introduced the topic of bhakti, after having spoken about the potency of it, here Krishna is speaking about the rarity of one who follows the process of bhakti. Right? So the spirit soul can have millions of forms, plants, animals, and it is rare for one to get the human form of life. That's why the human form is glorified, because in that one can make spiritual advancement. So out of millions and millions of jiva, a few of them will have the human form of life. Out of millions and millions of humans, a handful will work for spiritual progress, because the majority of them will be obsessed with material enjoyment. And out of this handful of humans who are aspiring for spiritual progress, most of them will be absorbed in karma or jnana or asthana. How to use spirituality to make material advancement, or Atma Gyan to be on the platform of Om Shanti Shanti, of peace, or getting mystic opulences. So hardly one will be in the situation where they will turn to Krishna. Out of these who have turned to Krishna, there will be those who will simply have an understanding of Krishna. Previous verse Krishna talked about Jnana Vigyan. So there are those, and Krishna says that they have achieved perfection. Right? So because they have turned to Krishna, they are developing knowledge of Krishna. But it says, out of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one know me in truth. That one person is the devotee of Krishna. That is the one person who understands the sweetness of the Lord, who is able to appreciate Krishna running after Mother Yashoda to drink her breast milk, who is able to understand Krishna dancing with the gopis. So many times we'll see that there are people who will come and ask that why does Krishna dance with the gopis? Why did Krishna cheat people in Mahabharata, in the battle? And 100% you will see that all these people have very minimal or no devotional practices. Because unless one executes bhakti, one cannot experience the sweetness of Krishna. So they are looking at Krishna with envy. How come Krishna gets to dance with so many women and I don't? Or they pull Krishna down to their own material platform. That I'm honest, I don't cheat, but Krishna cheats, so I'm better than Krishna. So that's why Krishna says that only through the process of bhakti can one begin to experience Krishna. And so one can understand that this process of bhakti is so rare. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada, or Vaishnavas, they have also gone to great lengths to explain to us that the execution of bhakti is not whimsical. So there are people at the other end of the spectrum who will say that, oh, I'm a nectar hound, and they will simply listen to bhajans and kirtans, but they will not practice anything. Right? So that's why Rupa Goswami talks about the science of devotion. Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he writes, Shruti Smriti Purnadi Pancharatrik Vidim Vina Ekanter Harer Bhakter Utpate Eva Kalpate. That one who executes devotional service without reference to Shruti. Shruti is the Vedas, Piti is the Puranas. Pancharatrik is our Vedic literatures that focus on bhakti. So one who ignores all this authorized scriptures like the Upanishads, the Puranas, the Pancharatras, and Ekantir Harer Bhakti, that whimsically they're performing. That, oh, I like to listen to Kirtan, but I don't like to listen to the science of devotion. They are utpate vikalpate. They are simply an unnecessary disturbance to themselves and the society. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, Atah sa Krishna namadi na bhaved graham indriya seva mukhe hi jivadu swayam eva hi spurad yata. That Krishna cannot be understood by blunt material senses. Na bhaved graham indriya, which includes one's intellect. Krishna cannot be understood by that. But seva mukhe hi jivadu. That when one begins to serve Krishna, Jivadu means beginning with the tongue, which is by the chanting of the holy name, then Swayameva Spuradyata. Then Krishna begins to reveal himself. Right? So Krishna cannot be understood, but Krishna bestows his understanding on the devotees. So this verse it gives a lot of hope also, because while Krishna is speaking about the rarity of devotional service, the fact that we are here together discussing this verse and reading Srila Prabhupada's purports means that by some good fortune we have been given this opportunity to partake of this exclusive path. And Krishna is so exclusive about this that in this chapter 3 times Krishna talks about the rarity of devotional service. Right? So later on in the 19th verse again he will say Sa Mahatma Sa Durlabha. Very difficult to get a person who is a devotee. And in the 26th verse he will say that Mam tu Veda na kaschan. Right? He says that understanding me is very difficult through one's blunt senses. So let's move on to the next verse. Okay, 7.4. Bhumirapnalo vayu khammano buddhirevacha ahankara iti yamme bhinna prakritirasthada. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence and false ego. All together these constitute my separated material energies. So as Krishna had promised in 7.2 that he will tell Arjun and us about himself, he is now going to reveal more details. So in 4 verses from 7.4 to 7.7, Krishna will present himself as the creator, as the cause of everything. And in the 4 verses following that, from 8 to 11, Krishna will present himself as the essence of all creation. Right? So this is knowledge of Krishna, as distinct from the knowledge of the soul. Right? So if one simply stops at the knowledge of the soul, it becomes an atheistic Sankhya philosophy. But when the knowledge of the soul is used as a springboard to get knowledge of Krishna, then it matures into bhakti. Now, when Krishna had talked about Gyan and Vigyan, so we had mentioned how Gyan is knowledge about Krishna and Vigyan is experiencing the sweetness of Krishna, and how Vigyan is a lot more relevant to bhakti than Gyan. So then why is Krishna giving Gyan about him? Because one needs to have that understanding. So Prabhupada would say that when you know how great Krishna is, then you will be able to serve him. Right? So if some person just comes to you and says, do this for me, do that for me, it's unlikely you will be able to do it. But then somebody comes and tells you that this person, he's actually the president of the country, or he's this great person, then that service will be more spontaneous. So Krishna is going to talk about his greatness first as a means to an end. So ultimately Krishna wants us to be at the stage of having a loving relationship with him. But in order to convince us about him being the object of our surrender and love, Krishna talks about his own greatness. And in this verse, he is talking about with that aspect of Krishna that we are directly interacting with. Right? So he says, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. So these are the external energy of Krishna that we are constantly dealing with. And these in themselves, they are essentially the basis of all the material creation that we see around us. So if you look at this table, we see that Krishna first talking about the 5 gross elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. And earth is experienced by its fragrance, water by its taste, then fire by form, air by touch, and ether by sound. Now for each of this experience, there is a sense. So there is the sense of smell that smells the fragrance of earth. And there is a sense of taste that tastes water. And there is the sense of sight that perceives form through fire. There is a sense of touch that will feel air. And there is a sense of hearing that will hear the sound in ether. And then there is a sense object. So there is the nose that smells the fragrance of air. There is the tongue that tastes the taste of water. There is the eyes that will see the form revealed by fire. And there is the skin that will touch and feel air. And there is the ears that will hear the sound being transmitted in ether. And then finally there are the 5 working senses: the hand, legs, voice, anus, and genital. So in all, there are these 24 senses. And Krishna, he is the cause of these 24 elements, not senses, 24 elements. So it's explained in the Bhagavatam how when Krishna is creating the universe, he first creates what is called Mahatattva. And Mahatattva contains these 24 elements in an undifferentiated form. And through subsequent transformations caused by Krishna, these elements will distill and the senses will then be given to the body. The sense object will be created in the material nature. So in this way, Krishna is saying that everything that you are seeing and feeling and experiencing, everything that has been created around you, I am the cause of it. Okay, next verse. Verse 5. Apareyamitastvanyam prakritim vedimi param jiva bhutam mahabhavo yedam dharyate jagat. Besides these, O mighty armed Arjun, there is another superior energy of mine which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. So previous verse Krishna talked about the material energy, earth, water, fire, air, ether, the senses, the subtle body. So these are all jad. They don't have consciousness in them. Here Krishna talks about that besides this there is a superior energy of mind. And what is included in that? The jiva. So, and what is the nature of the interaction between the jiva and prakriti? So Krishna says that they are exploiting the resources of this material nature. Right? So Krishna has now talked about the material nature, he's talked about the jiva, and he's talked about the relationship between the two. Next verse. Verse 6. Etad yonini bhutani sarvanetyupadaraya aham kritasnasya jagata prabhava pralayastataha. All created beings have their source in these two natures. Of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution. So Krishna has so far spoken about his inferior energy and superior energy, the material energy and the jiva. Now Arjun might ask that what is your position, Krishna? So Krishna says that know for certain that I am the source and dissolution. So which means that he is the all in all. Because if somebody is the source and somebody else is the cause of destruction, then the powers are limited for the creator, and vice versa. If somebody can just destroy but not create, but the powers are limited. But Krishna says that I am both. So he is the source of Brahma, who creates, and he is the source of Lord Shiva, who destroys. So everything is coming from Krishna, whether it is Kshetra, Kshetra means matter, or Kshetragya, which is the knower of matter. So Prabhupada, in the purport, he said this is actually practical guidance to Krishna, that everything in the battlefield is also a part of Krishna, whether the person is on the side of the Kurus or the Pandavas, whether it's the soldier or the charioteer or the horse driving, everything is a part of Krishna. That gives the whole different perspective now, different from Atma Gyan, different from Paramatma Gyan. Now Krishna is giving the vision of a devotee. Okay, let's go to the next verse. Verse 7. Mattparataram nanyad kinchedasti dhananjaya mai sarvam idam protam sutre maniganaiva. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me, as pearls are strung on a thread. So here Krishna is now more explicitly talking about his position with respect to the creation. Right? Previously he said that he is the source of everything that we see, whether it is the Prakriti or whether it is the Jiva. So the analogy that Krishna gives is that everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. Now, the nature of the thread that is holding up the pearls is that it is not immediately visible. If you see a pearl necklace, you will just see the pearls. You will not see the thread. But the matter of fact is that the thread is the one that is holding the pearls together in the necklace. So similarly, it is Krishna who is the cause and the maintainer of everything. But yet he is hidden. And later on Krishna will say how he hides behind the curtain of Maya to those who are unfavorable to him. Right? But here is making this point that in the previous verses he said everything is coming from me, and Arjun might say, then why are you not everywhere? And Krishna says, because I am so subtle, because I am hidden. Acharyas say that this is Krishna as the Paramatma form. As the Paramatma form, he enters into the Jiva and supports them. And as the Paramatma form, he also enters into the atoms of the matter. So we see that there are so many laws of matter. There's laws of motion, law of gravity, law of elasticity. And Prabhupada would say that, but these are all dead matter. What is causing them to obey all these laws? There has to be somebody or something that is causing them to abide by this multitude of laws with such exaction. It is said that if the gravitational constant it changes, or it were to change by even a very very minute 0.00001 fraction, it would actually cause an imbalance that would cause the universe to collapse. So what is causing this gravitational constant to be constant, for the laws of motion to be followed? So anytime there is a law, there has to be a person that is establishing the law and enforcing that law. And here Krishna says that it is he. Now Arjun might say that is there somebody who is also above you, who is helping you just like you are helping others, right? So Krishna says that there is no truth superior to me. Matata paratram nanyat. That beyond me, Paramatmam, there is nothing that is superior to me. So if you were to go up this chain of causality, that this depends on this, matter depends on spirit, spirit depends on something else depends on something else, it has to end at some point. And Krishna says it ends with me. At the same point, Krishna, Lord Brahma, when he is glorifying Krishna in Brahma Samhita, he says, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigra, Anadiradir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. Right? Sarva Karana Karanam means that he is the cause of all causes. Because every other cause has some cause. And there is this chain of causality. But there is one entity that is the cause of all causes, who does not have a cause. And that is Krishna. So here Krishna is now talking about him as the absolute supreme. Okay, let's do the next verse. Verse 8. Raswam apsu kaunteya prabhasmi shashi suryo pranava sarva vedesho shabdakhe paurasham nashu. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and the ability in man. So we will see in the subsequent set of verses from this 7.8 to 7.12, Krishna will explain that how he is the maintainer of the universe. Now this is more of an impersonal realization of Krishna, since it explains how Krishna is all-pervasive and can be perceived. Now Krishna is going to develop on this and introduce the topic of bhakti, but he is currently reaching us at a point that we are comfortable. So we see earth, water, fire, air, ether around us. We drink water, we see the light of the sun, we hear the sound. So Krishna is presenting himself as the cause or the essence of them. Right? So there's two ways that Krishna interacts, that he creates them and then as the essence he maintains it. Right? So he's saying that just like I have created this universe, I also enter it in my form of the Paramatma. And through that I am manifesting the different qualities through which I can be perceived. So these are known as the vibhutis of Krishna, or the manifestation of Krishna's powers. Now here Krishna says that I am the taste of water. Rasoham apsu kaunteya. So one way to understand it is that the essence of water is its taste. Now water is really tasteless, but that itself is a kind of taste. Baldev Vidyabhushan, he makes an interesting point here, saying that the taste of water is not really predicated on water, but it's the other way around. That because there was a need to experience the taste of water, water came into existence. So if you take an analogy, that if you have a fan in your room and the fan is moving and it's generating wind, so somebody looks at you and asks you, what is the cause of this wind? And then you might say the fan is the cause of the wind, which to some extent is true. But if you look a little bit beyond that why was the fan installed in the room to begin with? Because there was a need to have wind in the room. So because there was a need for the wind, the fan came into existence. So it is the wind that is the cause of the fan. So when Krishna says that I am the taste of water, he is essentially saying I am the cause of water. Because there was a need for the taste, water came into existence. And because Krishna says I am that taste, he is making this point that I am the one that has caused water to exist. I am the one that causes the sun and the moon to exist. And I am the Vedas. I am the cause of the sound and I am the ability of all humans there. So we see how Krishna is presenting himself in both ways. That for one who reads from a more superficial perspective, they will say, okay, Krishna is the taste of water. So when I drink water and then I taste water, I say Krishna. Prabhupada would say this actually. He would say that even meditating on these three words, Rasoham apsu, where Krishna says that I am the taste of water, a person can make spiritual progress. That when a person drinks a glass of water and he says, okay, Krishna is the taste of water, and the person is Krishna conscious, right? So that is Krishna's way of engaging with those who are still more in the material conception. And then the acharyas reveal that Krishna is also revealing tattvas over here. That not only is he manifested in these objects, he is also the cause of these objects. Okay, so we will stop over here and we will resume from verse 9 next time. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.